So here's something a little odd. I'm going to go back to a game I've discussed before on Smoke and Mirrors, Behaviour Interactive's Dead by Daylight, the asymmetric survival horror multiplayer game. Pretty much all of my gaming time of late has been focused on games you can expect to see on a future AI in Games or Design Dive episode in the coming months, so I'm mostly playing multiplayer games in my downtime, leading to my return to Dead by Daylight. Now, around 10 episodes ago, I made a video given I found myself really taking to the game during its 4-year anniversary season, and here we are almost exactly a year later, and I'm playing it during the 20th chapter of Dead by Daylight, which coincides with the 5-year anniversary of the game's launch, and the release of the latest DLC for the game starring the cast of Resident Evil. If you're not familiar, Dead by Daylight is a multiplayer game in which 4 players take on the role of survivors who need to power up 5 generators within a fixed map arena before they subsequently try and open the exit gates and make a run for freedom. Meanwhile, one player takes on the role of the killer, whose job is to hunt down and sacrifice each of the survivors to the entity by hurting them, impaling them on hooks, and letting the big bad chow down on their souls. The series has a number of its own killers the developers have designed and released over the years, but it has also exhausted much of the big intellectual properties from the horror movie genre, with Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre sitting alongside relatively modern day franchises such as Scream, Saw and Stranger Things. But what's been quite interesting to see is a migration towards video game franchises. First with Silent Hill, introducing Cheryl Mason and Pyramid Head, referred to as the Executioner, the inclusion of Bill from Left 4 Dead, and this led to the most recent DLC inspired by Resident Evil, which introduces Jill Valentine and Leon Kennedy as playable characters, with Claire and Chris Redfield as skins for each, alongside the Nemesis as the new killer. Now, the Resident Evil DLC is the reason I wanted to talk about the game, again, because it introduces something new, the first ever AI characters. Well, that's not entirely true. The mobile version of Dead by Daylight actually has AI bots that can replace survivors or killers, which don't yet appear in the console and PC versions, but it's the first non-player characters that have appeared in the series. They're really simple, they're not particularly complicated, but I was kind of excited to see this transition. Given it's Resident Evil, whenever the killer selects the Nemesis, the game also spawns zombies into the map. These zombies simply wander the map slowly by navigating along the nav mesh. They can't interact with objects or climb through windows, so they're kinda stupid, but if the player is close, they'll start to give chase and attack if possible. You need to get a sufficient distance away from them before they stop giving chase. This all becomes part of the killer game loop. Given as the Nemesis, you can use your tentacle attack, alongside attacks from zombies, to infect the survivors with the T-virus, which slightly impedes their movement initially, but subsequent tentacle or zombie attacks result in damage lest they inject one of the limited supplies of antidote in the map. Personally, I think the T-virus needs buffed, given I don't think it's as powerful as it should be, but hey, minor quibble. But the zombies can prove as big a problem as the Nemesis itself, sometimes even more so, because while the zombies aren't that fast, they are persistent. If you're trying to work on a given generator and a zombie is nearby and can detect you, it will impede your ability to complete the repair, given you'll need to lure it away from the generator, break its line of sight, and then get back to work. This works in the killer's favour, given it might be blocking a survivor from repairing a generator, but it's also something that they can detect and act upon. The zombies are highlighted for the Nemesis as they move around. This is useful given you might want to funnel someone you're chasing towards a zombie to try and catch them off guard, but also that you can keep a close eye on the animations changing in the zombies. If they've broke into a chase animation, then we know that a survivor is somewhere close by. It becomes a really subtle mechanism to catch where players are in the map and also their rough heading. Interestingly, players can actually kill the zombies using the pallet drops, but the Nemesis itself can also kill them as a mechanism to bootstrap your mutation rate, meaning that character is slowly getting stronger and more dangerous. It's all a really fun innovation within Dead by Daylight, and as always the new characters will receive all sorts of buffs and nerfs in the coming months as things change. Sadly, at the time of writing I haven't had a chance to try the new map yet, which is the Raccoon City police station from Resident Evil 2, because it was apparently breaking or causing issues in ranked play, which is the only mode I participate in. You can play it in private matches, but I don't have any friends to do that with. Poor old me. All in all, it's been a lot of fun to reconnect with the game. I'm now powering through the rankings on the Survivor side, to a point I have actually enjoyed clearing all of the Xbox achievements the Survivor round using bespoke Survivor loadouts, alongside how to adapt depending on the killer. Plus, I'm taking a few more stabs, no pun intended, at playing as the killers as well, which is not something I tend to focus on. But anyway, I'm really enjoying it. Plus, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that during the anniversary events, the developers changed the loading screen to add little messages from the dev team. I love this. I really wish more games and teams would do stuff like this. It's a really small and simple element, but I find it humanises the development process with small anecdotes, well wishes and jokes. I love it, I love it. I'd love to see more of this in future games. Thanks for watching this episode of Smoke and Mirrors. Hopefully I'll be back playing more games again soon, and even games that I haven't played before, given I'm actually taking some time off soon, which is nice. Let me know if you've tried out Dead by Daylight recently, and what you think of it. Smoke and Mirrors is, as always, brought to you thanks to my patrons, given they support AI and games on Patreon. Patreon? I don't know. You know the drill, go check out the page, help support the show, or I'll hunt you down and stab you. In Dead by Daylight, of course. Take care, folks.